You're listening to Spark TV, where we bring you daily interviews with real women in business at all stages. I'm your host, Danielle Lewis, and I am so grateful to have you here.
One of the best life stories, I've done, they're all the best, but anyway, one of the ones
Don't play favorites.
that really has stuck with me, because I get a lesson out of every single one, right? So one of the ones that has really stuck with me was a person who grew up in the same suburb, lived in the same suburb. He got the life story gift for his 90th birthday, and he still lived in the same suburb, the same house he bought 70 years earlier with his wife.
Wow.
He had all these kids and like a million grandkids. He'd worked in the same job his whole life.
Wow.
He had a love of cars. But on paper, that looks like the most ordinary life, and some people will go boring. But at the end of it, I always ask kind of a pearly question at the end, what's your wisdom about life, kind of a question. And I said, what would you do again? What lessons would you pass on to your grandkids? He said, I'd do it all again. It was all fantastic.
Wow.
I cried, he cried, getting tissues. But like, it's simple, right? Life can be simple and amazing. And that was of course, the challenging stories. When I do a trauma story, first, at the end of it, I just think the human spirit is incredible. Like, really, how do you get up and get on every day? What is it that drives that? But the living life simply and looking back and going, it was so great.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want that?
Oh my God, it's so true. I was watching a YouTube video this morning on money, and it had referenced a minimalist quote. And I do think sometimes we try and fill the hole in our lives with stuff and things. And in this relentless pursuit of achievement and being happy. And I just think you're so right. You can actually things can be simple and you can be happy. And these are all choices.
Yeah. And look, different. It might not be a choice in this society that we're growing up in, that it was for him. But there's different ways, I suppose, you can make it simple. Just the same thing happened this week. A couple, they were immigrants, and when they came here, they said, right, like, we have this opportunity to really make some incredible wealth considering the poverty we've come from. At that time, it was free education. They got grants, they got money to buy a home, all of that sort of stuff, which wowed them, and they're still eternally grateful. But they said, we want you to go to work. They both were career people, which was really interesting. There was, for the age that they were in Australia, women generally were not working, but she was a career woman as well. She gave up work to raise the kids, and they decided together, we're not going to, I want you to go to work and come home. We don't need to be greedy. We don't need to earn a lot of money. We want a small house, a small car, happy kids, and that's it. Come retirement, they have been to 90 different countries.
Whoa.
With that small house and that small car and that, like,
Oh my God.
life that they purposefully pushed aside the things they really could have had, and a lot of people in their situation would have taken. So again.
Oh my God. I just love intentionality. I just love when people go, block out the noise. I don't need to follow somebody else's version of happiness and success. This is what we want. And we will relentlessly say no to everything that's not it.
Yeah. All lessons we need to know. As I said, every single story I do, I take away something from my own life.
Oh my God.
It
must be so amazing talking to these people.
Yeah, I feel it's a real privilege. People let me right into their lives. It's a real privilege. Yeah. I get more out of it, I think, than they do.
I say that about this podcast. I'm like, this is therapy for me. This is literally like 30 minutes of therapy every day.
Yeah.
I love it. But it is like, it just goes back to the power of conversations and stories and learning from each other.
Yep, absolutely. And that's never more evident to me when I do a life story writing course or workshop. People like instantly come together. It's instant, and there's not been, over the many I've done, there's not been one time where it didn't happen. I mean, I anticipate that it's going to happen. There's going to be someone who doesn't want to share. Never.
Mm. Wow.
And it's because it's such a deeply personal thing that they're doing. Also because they're often the same age, so they've like lived through the same time period. So you'll get someone saying, oh, when we were 14, women had to leave school and they're either nurse or secretary. Oh, yes, I was a nurse. I was a secretary. Did you go to the women's nurse? Did you live in the women's nursing?
Wow.
You know, like, yeah. So I think, yeah, definitely conversation creates connection, and everybody wants it, not just, you know, the invisible age, as they're called. Yeah.
That wraps another episode of Spark TV. Shout out to Spark TV sponsor IP Australia for their amazing support of the Spark podcast and women in business. And if no one tells you today, you've got this.